Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Megan Hardy, and I'm the founder of Fitness Uncharted, which is my fitness and nutrition coaching company that I designed to help women build muscle, lose fat, improve your metabolism, and find ultimate food freedom in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. And today we are going to be talking about how to bounce back fast after you have overindulged or overeaten. How can you recover quickly after overeating? And here is another episode topic that I am inserting into our episode schedule because I feel like it's a super important topic this time of year. And I was talking about this with the ladies in our free Fitness Uncharted Facebook group. And if you're not in that group, go to the link in the show notes that says Facebook group and join. It's free to join. And we do like weekly live trainings in there. We give away a ton of free resources in there. We do a bunch of fun free challenges in there, like all kinds of good stuff. You do just have to be a woman and you have to be into fitness and nutrition. So, anyway, go check out the group. But we were talking about this topic with ladies in my group. And I was also talking about this on my Instagram and Facebook stories and got a pretty big response from women just saying like thank you for talking about this. They were like, this is just such like a relief to know like how to handle what like the holidays or know how to handle when I do overindulge or overeat, like because diet culture tells us one thing and our toxic relationships with food that a lot of us are coming from, we kind of exacerbate the issue when we do overeat, or we tend to deal with a lot of guilt and shame. And then also our bodies don't feel good, right? We feel like the Michelin man, like all fluffy and blown up, and we don't like that feeling. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I figured let me throw it into a podcast episode really quick. And also, want to insert this. Don't mind like the wall behind me. I took down my muscle makeover sign. Right now we are in the middle of moving. We are moving across the country this week. No big deal. You know, I've never made a cross country move myself, but here we go. Here's to a first time for everything. And our house is actually currently in the middle of getting packed up. So as this episode releases, I will actually be on the road or possibly to my destination, depending on when we're able to leave. We do have movers coming to help, pack stuff up and move it. But my husband and I are both driving our cars separately. My mom, thank goodness, just thank the Lord for my mom, is going to make the drive with me, because say a little prayer for us because we will be moving from Virginia to Utah with our dog and puppy, 16-week-old puppy. And we are going to try to make the drive in 4 days, which is pretty crunched. So it'll be like about like 9 to 10 hour drive days, 9 to 10 hours in the car. And that's not including like stops or rest breaks. So it'll probably be like, 12-hour days for driving for 4 days in a row. And who knows how it's going to go with Oreo and Rolo, our dogs. So say a little prayer. This is when I really wish I could just teleport to be there. Like if I could, have one wish granted right now, it would be just teleport me there so I don't have to do this. But we're just praying everything goes smoothly. I'm sure it will. And by the time this is released, hopefully I'll be there. So anyway, let's get into the topic. Let's talk about it. First, I want to give you examples of some recent occurrences that I overindulged and then tell you how I handled it. So, I'm going to give you the do's and don'ts and what I did do and what I did not do after overindulging. So, the first was Thanksgiving at my side of the family at my mom's house. That was last Saturday. We celebrated before Thanksgiving, and I gained 3+ pounds the next day, literally from like that one day of eating. The scale went up more than 3 pounds. And we did start at like 1 p.m. and we're eating and, partaking up until like 8 p.m. So that was a long time. My mom is the queen of amazing appetizers. She always cooks like she's feeding the 5,000, even though there's like, somewhere usually between like I don't know, 10 to 15 of us. It's like not that many people, but always, acts like she's feeding an army, which I love her for. And she always has like 10 options of everything. So like has like four different like, veggie dish type of things, like five or six different desserts, multiple different like hams and turkeys and meats. Like, I mean, just so much food. It's ridiculous. But I'm not complaining. I'm just throwing that out there. And the thing is, too, none of it tastes basic. Like, none of it is like, kind of like the throwaway dish. Like I kind of sometimes appreciate when I go somewhere and it's like, oh, that wasn't actually that good. So I'm not tempted to have more of it. No, everything my mom makes is freaking delicious. Like, every single thing. I don't care if it's Brussels sprouts. I don't care, whatever. It's amazing. Actually, her Brussels sprouts dish is one of my favorites. She does Brussels sprouts with like balsamic, what is that? Balsamic glaze, with feta, and she did like cranberries and feta and what else? Bacon, and I don't even know what else. Oh my gosh, so good. Anyway, after all that food that day, plus having like five desserts, like seriously, who does that? Like, she had lemon bars, cookies, brownies, apple pie, ice cream, and butterscotch pie. Why? Why? We were not feeding. It was not a party, you guys. It was a Thanksgiving meal. Why did we have all of those options? Anyway, again, I'm not complaining, but I had all of the desserts and went back for seconds of some of them and gained 3 pounds the next day. All right. So that's one example. And old me would have totally restricted, overexercised, etc. Right. Also, Thanksgiving with my husband's family, we had yesterday as of recording this. So we celebrated with them, and we did actually more of like a Costco Thanksgiving meal. If you ever need, like if you're like not really sure what to do for Thanksgiving, go grab Costco's like mac and cheese. It is bomb, and their mashed potatoes. And then we did like a Cracker Barrel turkey. We did the Cracker Barrel like full Thanksgiving meal the year before with my husband's family, but I will say that was stressful trying to heat everything up and have it ready at the same time. And also, I didn't really care for half of it. So, anyway, Costco has some bomb mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. Then we still got the turkey from Cracker Barrel. I made some like garlic green beans. And what else do we have? And then like some dessert. Oh, and we got a tuxedo cake from Costco, along with his mom made some like treat things, dessert treat things. Anyway, really good. Still lots of food, lots and lots of food. And the scale was up this morning 2+ pounds, to almost 3 pounds. And I mean, I could tell you right now, I'm like, I'm inflamed. I'm hella inflamed. Like, my fingers each, I was like, are so swollen that I'm like, I'm sure there's like an ounce of water extra in each finger right now. Okay. So that's like what, I have 10 fingers, right? So that's like 10 ounces of water. I'm joking, but seriously, I'm like, I know a lot of it's just water retention and inflammation, right? But there's still that part of your mind that goes like, oh my gosh, oh no, what did I do? And we go into restriction mode. So I'm going to tell you what I did not do. Okay. I did not, after indulging yesterday and last week, I did not restrict my calories the next day. And I am not doing a bunch of extra cardio trying to make up for the food and extra indulgences or the extra quote unquote weight. Okay. Even though I did really overconsume calories, I did. I had a lot of food and I definitely exceeded my calories. There's no way that I gained 2 to 3+ pounds of body fat overnight. I just didn't, right? A lot of that is water weight and it's going to come right back off if I get right back to my routine. So I'm not restricting, I'm not doing a bunch of extra cardio. Most of that is water weight anyway. And what happens, you guys, when you're restricting and over exercising, what usually happens is just negative outcomes, like particularly binging later and then restricting again the next day, which then leads to the binge restrict cycle. This is what I used to do all the time. This was old Megan, and this is why I could never achieve my body composition goals. I was skinny fat. I was not able to get a lean toned fit physique and aesthetic because I had the terrible relationship with food and I was on this binge restrict cycle because I would have something like, say, this event. overeat, feel like crap about myself mentally and physically, and then the next day restrict food all day long or as much as possible and do multiple hours of cardio, trying to manually burn off all of the food and calories that I over consumed because I felt bad and I thought that's also what I needed to do to get the weight back off, right? But then what happened was then I would binge later that night or, soon thereafter, feel bad about myself again and do the whole thing over again and restrict and binge and restrict and binge. We've got to get off that cycle. So I did not do that this time. Okay. It also just leads to a poor relationship with food. Like that mindset, the mindset of like, I have to burn off all the calories I ate. Like you are a hamster on a wheel, my friend. If you are thinking of calories that way and exercise that way, if you are always trying to burn off what you are eating, you are going to be spinning your wheels forever and ever and ever. Like don't look at food that way, and it actually creates a really poor relationship with food. It's a really unhealthy, like toxic diet culture mindset, which can also lead to restriction and binges as well. And it also just takes the joy out of eating. Like one of our primary focuses with our clients is food freedom. That is a part of the reason why I even got into the business that I'm in now as a nutrition and fitness and body transformation coach, because not only do I have the body composition of my dreams, and I reached that, but I did it in a way that was sustainable where I can still enjoy my favorite foods and events like Thanksgiving without guilt. I have complete food freedom. I know how to eat some Sour Patch Kids like I did last night and not feel bad about it today. And my body doesn't suffer from it the next day, right? Like that is why I even am passionate about this, because I want other women to experience it as well. And we want you to be able to enjoy food with peace of mind and without feeling guilty, right? Like that is real freedom. That's food freedom. Like, what is the point of having a fit, sexy, healthy body if you have no peace of mind and you feel guilt whenever you're eating? Like, whether it's quote unquote bad food or any food, you just feel so much guilt around food. Like that is not the way to live. And so that's where, like, having that toxic diet culture mindset of I have to burn all of this off, it is not helping you at all. It's really hurting you. The other thing I did not do is I did not fast to try to make, quote unquote, make up for the extra food the day before. This is something I used to do where I would try to fast, most of the day or only eat dinner or something like that, because I was like, well, I just totally overdid it with my calories yesterday. So I'll just go most of the day today. I'm really not even that hungry. Like I'll just kind of go all day today without eating. And then again, that exacerbated the binge restrict cycle for me. Plus, I'm not actually fueling my body well to balance hormones, to get adequate protein intake in, things like that, where I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot. Okay. So I don't do that anymore. I don't do any of those things. That's my list of don'ts. And before we jump into my list of do's, the things that I do now when I overindulge to help compensate, before we jump into that, I want to take a quick break to announce this week's giveaway winner and to tell you about my favorite supplements from Legion Athletics. And first of all, I love that Legion's products are 100% natural. They have no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. They are third-party tested and they do not use proprietary blends, which means that Legion shows you exactly how much of each ingredient is in their supplements. And what you see on the label is what you get, which is not the case for all supplement brands, unfortunately. So that's where third party testing and not having proprietary blends, those should be two things that you're looking for with whatever supplement brand you are going with. Legion in particular carries creatine, pre workout, fish oil, multivitamins, you name it. But my personal favorite and current obsession is Legion's protein powders. They have bomb flavors like cinnamon cereal, chocolate peanut butter, salted caramel, banana bread, oatmeal cream pie, fruity cereal, and so many more. And they're all like they're on point. They're on point. And I will actually, like I said, be moving across the country this week, and I will be bringing 3 bags of protein powder in the car on hand, ready to go so I can still hit my protein goals. And right now, you guys, we are picking a winner each week to receive one free product from Legion. All you need to do to enter the giveaway is subscribe to the Muscle Makeover on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. On Apple Podcasts, it's the plus sign, and that's how you follow the show. And then on Spotify, I think it's the same thing. I think you hit the plus sign, but follow the show, subscribe, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts or comment on a Spotify episode. And then if you win, you get to pick from any of Legion's supplements. Also, for being a listener of the Muscle Makeover, you can get 20% off your first order and cash back on all future orders by using the code TMM. That's as in the Muscle Makeover, TMM. The link is in the show notes for your convenience. And this week's winner is Taryn Dalton. Woohoo! Taryn's review said, I love listening to your podcast, even if the specific episode is not necessarily something I quote unquote think I need to hear. There is always something I take away from each episode. So glad I found you. Thanks, Taryn, and congratulations on being this week's winner. Please email me at megan@fitnessuncharted.com to claim your prize. And let's get back to the show. So, what do I do after overindulging? What are the do's? We already talked about some of the don'ts, like fasting, restricting, aka binging, over exercising, doing extra cardio. Those are things I do not do anymore. Old Megan used to do them. We don't do it anymore. Now, what do I do? And what did I do literally this past week? Each time that I gained an extra 3-ish pounds, what did I do to get my weight back normalized? And how did I bounce back? Well, first and foremost, I got my steps in. My goal is at least 10,000 steps a day. I was getting somewhere between 10 and 20,000 steps, depending. So I would go on walks, like we actually went on a walk with my husband's family yesterday. It was a 2-mile walk at lunchtime. But my husband and I also worked out in the morning, and we went for a short little walk in the morning. And then we went for a short little evening walk and got, I think, like 17,000 steps yesterday, something like that. So that was the day of. So the day of whatever event, try to get as many steps in as you can. And then also the next day, get on top of your step goal. So whether you are traveling or unable to get your steps in during the day of the event, the next day, just get right back on top of whatever your step goal is. And then the next thing I did was I got my strength workout in, and I put that fuel to good use to push a little heavier weight. So all that food that I ate, instead of thinking, it's the mindset switch of, instead of thinking I need to burn this food off and I need to burn off calories, you're switching it to, I now have all of this great, these carbs and this glucose and glycogen to use for my next workout. And I'm going to just push extra weight. I'm going to maybe even set some new PRs. Like, I'm just going to get strong AF, and I'm going to put this food to good use. And you're not skipping your workouts, things like that. You're not working out extra time. You're just really bringing that intensity in the workout that you already had planned and scheduled. So I got my strength workout in. I also really prefer to work out first thing in the morning and to work out prior to whatever event is happening, because I also know that when I do have that extra indulgence, my body and muscles are going to use that fuel for recovery too. So it's great to do before the event, and then also after, just get right back on top of your workout routine. And the next thing I did was push the water. I pushed water through, right? I drank lots and lots of water to help with the extra water retention and the inflammation from eating so much sodium and processed foods and sugar. Like, my body will immediately show when I've had too much sodium or processed foods in my eyes and in my fingers, because the inflammation and the swelling is like ridiculous. And pushing more water through will help kind of flush that out and flush out the toxins that you had from the day before. So push the water through. I also have a reset meal. So what I mean by that is a meal that is like my go-to to reset myself when I've overindulged. Instead of restricting or fasting, I'm like, let me have this reset meal, and it's going to help me feel good, and it's also going to get me right back on track quickly. So I ate my reset meal in the morning, which my meal is an egg and egg white omelet with Greek yogurt, probably some salsa or yeast flakes on top of that. And then also cold oats with collagen, a scoop of protein powder, cinnamon, milk, and blueberries. That is my go to. That's like my go to every morning, but that's also my reset meal. So no matter the damage that I did the night before, I come back around the next day and I have that reset meal and I immediately feel back on top of my goals. I immediately even feel better about myself because I'm just like, all right, this is back to the routine. Like, this is my go to. And I'm just going to get right back to it today. So, there's a lot of benefit to having a reset meal, you guys, both physically and mentally. And I would just make sure that your reset meal includes mostly whole foods, high protein, and high fiber, like something that's going to fuel you and make you feel good. But having that go to is going to not only make you feel good physically, but it's mentally going to get you right back on track quicker. Okay. So I had my reset meal. I also ate throughout the day. So I focused on high protein and mostly whole foods and just really trying to pick foods that would make me feel good the next day, like fresh foods, fruits and vegetables, high fiber, things like that. So I wasn't restricting, but I also wasn't, extending the crappy eating, right? I had my reset meal, and then throughout the day, I was eating good, making good food choices, right? That would make me feel really good. And then also, I ate dinner earlier. So this helps me to eat a little bit less naturally for the day overall without restricting. It also gives my gut a bigger break overnight. So it has a little bit more time to recover from all the food the day before. So for instance, the day that I was with my family, we were eating from like 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. So not only, you guys, did I know that I was having a lot of water retention the next day, and a lot of that weight was probably inflammation and water retention, I also was eating food later than I usually do. So I literally had more food on my stomach from the day prior than I normally would. Right. So, like, think about that. Like, you're literally putting more food in. I was holding my like Thanksgiving plate and I was like, holy crap, this thing is heavy. Just think about that. It's actual weight in the food that you're eating that you're then putting in your stomach, and your stomach is holding on to that weight. You're not gaining 3 to 5 pounds of body fat. It is extra food in your stomach, and it's mostly, inflammation and water weight, right? But the next day, by eating dinner a little bit earlier, I was naturally eating a little bit less for the day just by cutting my dinner off a little bit earlier. So I tried to eat my dinner by 6 p.m. And that also just kind of gave my gut that extra break overnight, and I wasn't doing anything crazy like any extended fast. It was just giving my body at least 12 hours. If not, actually, it was probably more like 15 or 16 hours for me because I think I ate around 9 a.m. the next day, and just gave my gut that break from having so much food on it like I had the night prior. And that helped tremendously as well. So that's another thing you can try to do: eat dinner a little bit earlier. And along with that, also go to sleep earlier. Getting plenty of rest is so, so, so important for hormone health, including regulating hunger hormones like leptin and ghrelin and insulin and cortisol and your sex hormones, all these things that impact your weight and impact your hunger signaling. Getting that extra sleep is going to help so much with your recovery from overindulging. Okay. So get that extra sleep so the next day you can wake up refreshed and you're not craving tons of sugar and carbs, right? We know, like, literally science shows that when you're not getting enough sleep, the things that we're reaching for tend to be higher carb and higher sugar, and not the good carbs. We're talking not complex carbs. We're talking the simple carbs, the donuts and the cookies, because our body is looking for that quick hit of energy, right? So if we can get enough sleep, we won't exacerbate that the next day, and we can much more easily get right back on track with our normal, diet and nutrition and eating. So doing those things, that's literally it. That was my list, you guys. Doing that, my weight almost normalized 2 days after the high calorie event. It went up 3+ pounds the day after the event, and then came back down two-ish, 2+ pounds the following day after doing these things. I did not do extra workouts. I did not do extra cardio. I did not restrict. And literally, my weight almost normalized. I was still up like a pound, but the very next day. So, the day of the event, it was the next day that I got right back on track. And then the following day, my weight was pretty much normalized. I also recognized, though, you guys, that the rest of the week might just be a quote unquote maintenance week to get my weight normalized and then holding steady. So if you are someone who is in a cut or a fat loss phase, and you're having high calorie events like this with a lot of extra food or drinks once or twice a week, just level set your expectations and realize that you may not see any progress on the scale as far as the scale going down for that week. Like the win would just be maintaining your weight, your current weight given your indulgences. So that's where, like, if you're like, I'm not making progress and I'm so consistent Monday through Saturday or Monday through Friday, but Saturday or Saturday, Sunday, you have these kind of overeating or overindulgences, then you're probably just lucky to maintain or normalize the following week, right? So, when you're in a cut or a fat loss phase, really put your head down and be in the cut or fat loss phase. You should not be cutting or dieting for months on end. It should be like a 6 to 8 week or 10 week or maybe up to 12 week fat loss phase. But 12 weeks is even a long time. That's 3 months, you guys. So that's a long time to really be diligent. But the goal with a fat loss phase or cut is get in, get out, and get on with your life, right? So, if you're having these kinds of indulgences, level set your expectations and realize that the win is that you're maintaining your weight, and don't feel all defeated because the scale isn't going down when you're having these kinds of days every week. Okay. So this is the stuff that you can do to get right back on track, to quote unquote bounce back after having indulgences, because these are also a part of life. Like, we should be able to have these days, enjoy food, enjoy time with family, all that good stuff, and not have to worry about gaining 5 to 10 pounds, right? So please, please, please stop doing hours of cardio or going all day without eating because you quote unquote feel fat or you feel bad for eating too much. You are actually exacerbating the issue. Just get right back to your normal routine, working out, getting your steps in, drinking your water, and eating 80 to 90% nutrient dense whole foods. And I promise you, the weight will come right back off. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. If you want help on your fitness journey and you're interested in chatting more about one on one coaching, then you can book a call with me through the link in the show notes. Otherwise, make it an amazing day. And the next time you hear from me, I will actually be in Utah. How crazy is that? Yikes. I can't believe that. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys soon.